They say friendship is sacred, a bond blessed by the ancestors. But what happens when your closest friend looks into your future and decides to change it? Not to save you, but to destroy you. I learned too late that some gifts from the gods are curses in disguise, and the person holding your hand might be the one pushing you toward the cliff. My name is Amara, and I need to tell you about my evil bestie named Zola. Before I continue, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to show your support for me. Let me begin. We grew up together in a village called Tangu where the baobab trees whispered secrets and the river sang songs our grandmothers taught us. Zola and I were inseparable from the moment we could walk. Our mothers were friends, our fathers worked the same fields, and our hearts stood side by side like sentries watching over each other. We shared everything, our food, our dreams, our fears, our secrets. When I cried, she cried. When she laughed, I laughed. We braided each other's hair in the same patterns. We wore matching beads our grandmothers made for us. We even started our moon blood in the same season, becoming women together under the watchful eyes of the elder women who guided us through the rituals. People called us the two souls in one body. The village storyteller used to joke that the gods had meant to make us twins but changed their minds at the last moment and sent us to different mothers instead. I loved her more than I loved my own reflection. But Zola had something I didn't have. Something that made elders bow their heads when she passed. Something that made mothers pull their children closer when she looked their way. Something that made the priestess watch her with eyes full of both wonder and worry. Zola could see the future. Not in dreams or visions like the village priestess who threw bones and read smoke patterns. Not through meditation or prayer or fasting. No, Zola's gift was different. More direct. More powerful. More dangerous. When she touched someone's shadow at sunset, that sacred hour when they kiss is night and the world holds its breath, she could see the path their life would take. Every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every failure, every love, every loss, laid out before her like footprints in wet sand, clear as day, inevitable as death. She discovered this gift when we were 12 years old. An old farmer was walking home, and Zola accidentally stepped on his shadow as the sun was setting. She collapsed immediately, her body seizing, her eyes rolling back until only the whites showed. The farmer ran for help, thinking she was dying. But when she woke up, she told him things. Things about his future. She said his son would return from the coast with a wife and twin babies. She said his sick cow would recover and give birth to a calf with a white star on its forehead. She said he would live to see his grandchildren married. Everything she said came true. Every single word. The elders were called. Tests were performed. The priestess confirmed what everyone suspected. Zola had been touched by the ancestors, given the rare and terrible gift of foresight. The elders warned her never to use this gift casually. The future belongs to the gods, they said, their voices heavy with the weight of ancient wisdom. To steal a glimpse is to invite chaos into the natural order. To know what's coming is to become responsible for it. This power is not a toy. It is a burden that can crush the soul. But Zola was curious. Young. Powerful. And I was her best friend. How could she not want to see my future? How could I not want her to look? One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon and painted the sky in shades of amber and blood, we sat by the river. It was our favorite spot, a smooth rock that jutted out over the water, where we'd spent countless hours talking about everything and nothing. I was talking about my dreams. My mother was a healer, one of the best in the region, and I wanted to follow in her footsteps. I wanted to learn the songs that called healing spirits. I wanted to memorize which plants cured and which ones killed. I wanted to understand the mysteries of the body, how bones knit together, how fever breaks, how life clings to the world even when death pulls at it. I want to help people, I said, my feet dangling in the cool water. I want to be someone who takes away pain. Someone who matters. Someone whose name means something. Zola was quiet. Too quiet. I looked at her and saw her staring at my shadow, which stretched long across the riverbank in the setting sun. Zola, no, I said, but I was smiling. The elders said. The elders aren't here, she interrupted. And I want to know. Don't you want to know what's going to happen to you? I did. God's help me, I did. What if it's bad? I asked. What if it's wonderful, she countered. I hesitated for only a moment. Then I nodded. Zola reached out and touched my shadow. The change was immediate and terrifying. Her eyes went white. Completely white. Like the moon had swallowed her pupils and replaced them with pale light. Her body went rigid, every muscle locked tight. Her fingers dug into the earth so hard her nails bled. Her mouth opened but no sound came out, just a silent scream that seemed to go on forever. I tried to pull her back, shaking her shoulders, calling her name, but it was like trying to move a mountain. She was somewhere else, somewhere I couldn't follow, watching a story I couldn't see. When she finally came back, gasping for air like she'd been underwater, her face was wet with tears. Not the soft tears of sadness, but the hard tears of someone who'd seen something that changed them forever. Zola, what did you see? I asked, my heart hammering against my ribs so hard I thought it might break free. She looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Not sadness. Not fear. Not joy. Something else. Something that made my skin crawl and my stomach turn cold. You're going to be great, Amara, she whispered, her voice hoarse and strange. Greater than anyone in this village has ever been. You'll heal people the elders couldn't save. You'll learn secrets that have been lost for generations. Kings will send for you. Chiefs will offer you gold and cattle and land just to have you nearby. Your name will be spoken with reverence across the land. Children will grow up hearing stories about you. You'll be legendary. I should have been happy. These were the words I dreamed of hearing. Confirmation that my hopes weren't just foolish girl fantasies but actual destiny written in the stars. But the way she said it, like she was pronouncing a death sentence, like each word was a stone she was swallowing, made my blood turn cold. That's wonderful, isn't it? I asked carefully, searching her face for the joy that should have been there. She smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Her eyes were dark and distant and full of something that looked like grief. Of course, she said. I'm so happy for you. That was the first lie. But I didn't know it yet. Things changed after that night. Small things at first. Things so subtle I told myself I was imagining them. Zola would forget to save me a seat at gatherings, something she'd done automatically since we were children. When I arrived, I'd find her sitting with other girls, the space beside her already taken, and she'd look up with surprise like she'd completely forgotten I existed. She'd be too busy to help me gather herbs for my mother, always having some excuse. Her own mother needed her. She had to help with the cooking. She'd promised to do something else. She'd meet me later but never showed up. When I shared good news, a successful healing, praise from an elder, my mother's pride in my progress, her congratulations felt hollow, like words spoken by a stranger wearing my best friend's face. The embrace was there but the warmth wasn't. I told myself she was just growing up, becoming her own person. We couldn't be attached at the hip forever. This was natural. Normal. Healthy even. I told myself a lot of lies in those days. Then the accident started. The first one happened during the Harvest Festival, 3 months after Zola had looked into my future. I was chosen to perform the ceremonial dance, a great honor for someone my age. Usually, Only women who had born children were selected, but the priestess had seen something in me, some spark that she said deserved recognition. My mother had spent weeks preparing my costume. She'd sewn cowrie shells and beads into intricate patterns that caught the light like stars. She dyed the fabric herself using techniques passed down through 5 generations. She'd woven my hair with golden thread and blessed every element with prayers and offerings. The costume was a masterpiece. When I wore it, I felt like I was carrying the beauty of all my ancestors on my shoulders. The day of the festival, I woke early, my stomach fluttering with nervous excitement. I went to retrieve my costume from where it hung in my hut, protected and sacred. What I found made me fall to my knees. The costume was destroyed. Shredded. Torn to pieces and scattered across the floor like the remains of a slaughtered animal. The shells were crushed. The beads were scattered. The fabric was ripped beyond repair. Even the golden thread in my hair preparation was cut into tiny pieces. Someone had spent hours destroying it. This wasn't an accident or an animal attack. This was deliberate. Methodical. Hateful. I screamed. I couldn't help it. The sound that came out of me was raw and broken, the sound of a dream dying. Zola was the first person to arrive when she heard my cries. She held me while I sobbed, rocking me like my mother used to when I was small. Who would do this? She asked, her voice full of shock and sympathy. Who would be so cruel? So evil? I had no answer. I couldn't imagine anyone in our village harboring such malice. My mother tried to repair the costume, but there wasn't enough time. I performed the dance in a borrowed costume that didn't fit properly, that felt wrong against my skin, that carried none of the blessings my mother had woven into every stitch. I stumbled twice. Forgot the steps. Fell out of rhythm with the drums. The elders' disappointment was a weight I carried for months. The whispers followed me everywhere. She wasn't ready. The priestess was wrong about her. Pride comes before the fall. Zola was very sympathetic. She visited me every day, bringing me food, telling me stories, assuring me that everyone would forget soon. But I noticed she never seemed quite as sad as I was. And when she thought I wasn't looking, I'd catch her watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. The second incident was worse because it nearly killed someone. My mother had been teaching me to prepare medicines. The knowledge of which plants healed and which ones killed was passed down through our bloodline, sacred information guarded carefully and taught slowly. One wrong ingredient could mean the difference between life and death. I'd been studying for 2 years by then. I knew the plants by sight, by smell, by touch, by taste. I could identify them in the dark. I could find them in any season. My mother trusted me enough to let me prepare simple remedies under her supervision. One afternoon, a woman brought her daughter to us. The child was burning with fever, her small body trembling, her eyes glazed and unseeing. It was a common illness, one I'd helped treat dozens of times. My mother was away, helping with a difficult birth in another part of the village. You know what to do, she told me that morning. I trust you. I prepared the medicine exactly as I'd been taught. Measured the proportions. Crushed the leaves. Mixed everything with care and prayer. I'd done it so many times I could do it in my sleep. I gave the medicine to the child and waited for the fever to break. Instead, the child got worse. Her skin turned gray. Her breathing became shallow and rapid. She began convulsing, her small body thrashing so violently her mother had to hold her down. My mother rushed in, summoned by the mother's terrified screams. She took one look at the child, then at the medicine, and her face went pale in a way I'd never seen before. She grabbed the bowl, smelled it, and her hands started shaking. Amara, what did you put in this? The usual ingredients: fever leaf, cooling root, blessing bark. This is nightshade. Nightshade, Amara. You've given her poison. You could have killed her. The world tilted. No. No, I didn't. I would never. But the evidence was there in the bowl. Dark purple residue that could only be nightshade, a plant so deadly we kept it far from the healing herbs, locked away and marked with warning symbols. My mother saved the child's life, but barely. She walked through the night, using every technique she knew, calling on the ancestors, burning offerings, singing healing songs until her voice gave out. The child survived. But the damage to my reputation was fatal. I was banned from preparing medicines for 6 months. The elders were called. There was talk of ending my training completely. Parents who had once smiled at me now watched me with suspicion and fear. Mothers pulled their children away when I passed. I knew I hadn't used nightshade. I knew the plants by touch, by smell, by the way they felt between my fingers. I checked and double-checked. Someone had switched them. But who would believe me? Who would accuse anyone of such evil without proof? And who would want to hurt an innocent child just to destroy my reputation? The questions haunted me, but I had no answers. Zola visited me every day during those dark months. She'd sit with me when everyone else avoided me. She'd braid my hair like we were children again, her fingers gentle and familiar. She'd tell me stories to distract me from the shame and fear. Don't worry, she'd say, her voice soft and soothing. This will pass. People will forget. You'll still become a great healer. I saw it, remember. Your future is already written. Nothing can change it. But sometimes, when she braided my hair, her hands would tighten just a little too much, pulling until tears came to my eyes. And her smile would linger just a second too long, like she was savoring something I couldn't see. I told myself I was being paranoid. Grief and shame were making me suspicious of everyone, even my best friend. I told myself a lot of things. I started having nightmares. Every night, the same dream. I'd be standing in my hut, and I'd see my shadow stretching across the floor. But it wasn't my shadow. It was Zola's. And she was standing in it, her white eyes glowing in the darkness, her fingers moving like she was weaving invisible threads, pulling and cutting and tying, rearranging the pattern of my life like it was a tapestry she could remake according to her own design. In the dream, I'd feel myself shrinking, fading, becoming less and less. My gift draining away. My future disappearing. My very essence being consumed until there was nothing left but her, standing tall in my place, wearing my face like a mask. I'd wake up screaming so often that my mother called the priestess. The priestess was ancient, her face a map of wrinkles and wisdom earned over a lifetime of serving the spirits. She looked at me with eyes that seemed to see through flesh and bone, straight into the spirit, reading the truth written in invisible ink on my soul. She threw bones. Breathed smoke. Sang songs in a language older than memory. Then she turned to me and spoke words that changed everything. You carry a curse, she said simply, her voice cracked and dry like old leather. But not one placed by enemies. This curse wears the face of love. It walks with you. Eats with you. Sleeps in the hut beside yours. It knows all your weaknesses because it studied them from the inside. My breath caught. I don't understand. The one who wishes you harm is the one you trust most. They have seen what you will become, and they cannot bear it. Jealousy is a poison that turns friend into foe, sister into serpent. It grows slowly, feeding on resentment and fear, until the person who once loved you wants nothing more than to see you destroyed. My hands trembled. My whole body trembled. What do I do? The priestess's eyes were sad but firm. Confront the truth, or let it consume you. Those are your only choices. The curse will not break until you name it. But naming it may cost you everything you hold dear. And if I do nothing, then the dream you keep having will come true. You will be consumed. Your gifts will wither. Your future will die. And the one who should have been your greatest ally will dance on the grave of everything you could have been. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't believe it. Zola was my sister in everything but blood. We had sworn oaths beneath the baobab tree when we were 7 years old, mixing our blood and promising to protect each other until the ancestors called us home. We had survived everything together, the drought that killed half the village, the sickness that took my grandmother, the year of hunger when we shared our last handful of grain. How could the girl who held my hand through every storm now be the one creating the thunder? But the priestess's words burrowed into my mind like termites into wood, eating away at my certainty, making everything I thought I knew feel hollow and rotted. I started watching Zola. Really watching her. I noticed things I'd been too blind to see before. How her jaw clenched when people praised me. Just a tiny movement, barely visible, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. How her eyes would go distant and cold when I talked about my future, like she was watching something die far away. How she touched her chest like something inside hurt whenever my mother spoke about my gifts, my progress, my potential. And I noticed something else. Something that made my blood run cold. Every time something went wrong in my life, Zola had been nearby. Not just nearby, intimately involved. The shredded costume. Zola had visited my hut that morning, bringing me sweet cakes to calm my nerves. She'd been alone in my hut for several minutes while I stepped out to get water. They switched herbs. Zola had been helping me organize my mother's medicine supplies the day before, handling every plant, learning where everything was kept. A dozen small incidents I dismissed as bad luck suddenly took on a sinister shape. The tools that went missing before important ceremonies. The rumors that spread about me after private conversations. The opportunities that disappeared just before I could seize them. Zola had been there for all of it. Always offering sympathy. Always ready to help pick up the pieces. Always conveniently present for both the crime and the comfort. I decided to test my suspicions. I told Zola I'd been asked to heal the chief's son, who had fallen mysteriously ill with a condition none of the other healers could diagnose. A complete lie, but one that would mean tremendous honor for me if it were true. The kind of opportunity that could restore my reputation and launch me toward the future Zola had seen. That's amazing, Zola said, but her smile was a razor wrapped in silk. When do you go? Tomorrow at dawn. I'm preparing the medicine tonight. It's complex, 7 different plants that have to be harvested, prepared, and combined in a specific order. The timing is crucial. I watched her eyes. Saw the calculation there. The wheels turning. The plan forming. I should help you, she offered, reaching for my hand. This is too important to do alone. You can't afford another mistake. The words were kind. But the emphasis on another mistake was like a knife between my ribs. No, I said firmly. My mother will help me. She wants to oversee this personally. But thank you. Disappointment flashed across her face before she could hide it. Of course. I understand. I'll pray for your success. That night, I didn't prepare any medicine. Instead, I hid in the shadows of my hut, wrapped in darkness, barely breathing, and waited. Hours passed. The moon climbed higher, painting everything in silver. My legs cramped. My back ached. I was beginning to think I'd been wrong, that paranoia had poisoned my judgment, that I was about to lose my best friend over false accusations born from my own fear and shame. Then I saw her. Zola, creeping through the darkness like a ghost, moving with the confidence of someone who'd walked this path 1,000 times. She was carrying something wrapped in cloth, pressed close to her body like a secret. She slipped into my heart through the back entrance, a loose panel we'd created as children for sneaking out to watch the stars and share stolen sweets. An entrance only she knew about. A vulnerability I trusted her with. I watched through a crack in the wall, my heart pounding so loud I was sure she'd hear it. She moved through my space with the ease of familiarity, knowing exactly where I kept everything. She went straight to where my medicines were stored, laid out for the morning I'd said I'd be preparing the chief's cure. She pulled out a small pouch from her wrap and began systematically switching the contents of my containers. Replacing healing herbs with harmful ones. Swapping life for death. All while humming softly, a song we used to sing together as children. The casualness of it was what broke me. The way she walked without hesitation, without remorse, like she'd done this 100 times before. Like destroying me was just another chore, no different from grinding grain or fetching water. My heart shattered and reformed in the same moment. Grief and rage twisted together like fighting serpents in my chest, each trying to devour the other. I stepped inside. Looking for something. She spun around, and for a heartbeat, just one single heartbeat, her mask fell away completely. I saw the hatred there, raw and burning, consuming her from the inside like a fire that had been smoldering for years. I saw jealousy so intense it had turned her so black. I saw a stranger wearing my best friend's face. Then she caught herself, smoothing the expression away, reaching for the persona of concerned friend. Amara. You startled me. I was worried about you, so I came to check. Destroying my future. I finished, my voice surprisingly steady. Again. Silence. Heavy as stone. Sharp as broken glass. Her hand was still inside my medicine bag, caught red-handed, no explanation possible. For a long moment, we just stared at each other. Two girls who'd grown up as one, now separated by a chasm wider than the river, deeper than any grave. Then something in her broke. Or maybe it had been broken all along, and she just stopped pretending to be whole. She laughed. Not the laugh I knew, not the bright joyful sound of my childhood companion, but something brittle and broken, edged with madness. You want the truth, Amara? Fine. Here's the truth. I saw your future, and it was beautiful. Magnificent. Everything I ever dreamed of for myself, you are going to have. The fame, the respect, the power, the love, all of it. Everything I wanted, you are going to take. So you decided to steal it from me. I decided to save myself from watching you become everything while I remained nothing. Her voice cracked, raw with years of suppressed pain. Do you know what it's like? To see someone you love surpass you in every possible way. To know that no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you'll always be second best. Always be the friend of the famous healer, never the healer herself. Always be the shadow, never the light. I would have shared everything with you. We were supposed to rise together. I would have brought you with me to every opportunity. No, she shook her head violently, her eyes wild. Your future didn't include me, Amara. I saw it. I saw everything. You moved to the capital. You studied with the greatest healers. You married a chief's son and lived in a compound with 10 huts. You had children who inherited your gifts. You were happy. So incredibly happy. And I wasn't there. Not once in any of it. You forgot all about this village and everyone in it. You forgot about me. The words hit me like physical blows. That's not true. I saw it. I saw you living this perfect life, and I wasn't in it. Do you know what that's like? To see your own irrelevance. To know that you matter so little that your best friend's entire future doesn't include a single moment with you. Tears were streaming down her face now, genuine pain mixing with the poison of jealousy. So you tried to destroy me instead of letting me go. I tried to keep things the way they were. When you're small, I'm enough. When you're broken, you need me. When you're failing, I'm the one who matters. I'm the one you turn to. I'm the one who has value. Don't you understand? I can't be nothing. I can't be forgotten. I'd rather see you destroyed than watch you leave me behind. The truth of it was more horrible than I could have imagined. She hadn't been trying to destroy me out of pure hatred. She'd been trying to keep me trapped, small, dependent, forever locked in a version of our friendship where she was needed, where she mattered, where she wasn't left behind. She'd been trying to keep me in a cage made of love turned toxic. I should have reported her to the elders. According to our laws, what she'd done, attempted poisoning, sabotage, deliberately endangering a child's life, warranted exile at minimum. Some offenses carried a death sentence. But I couldn't do it. Despite everything, the betrayal, the lies, the attempts to destroy my future, I still remember the girl who held my hand during thunderstorms. Who shared her last piece of dried mango when we were children. Who cried with me when my grandmother died. Who taught me how to braid my hair. Who promised we'd be sisters forever. That girl was gone, consumed by jealousy and fear, but her ghost still haunted the space between us. Leave, I told her, my voice barely above a whisper. Leave this village tonight. Go far away and never use your gift again. If the elders find out what you've done, they'll kill you. If my mother finds out you nearly killed that child, she'll kill you herself. Go now, and I'll tell no one. Amara. Go. Before I change my mind. Before I stop seeing my friend and start seeing only the monster you've become. Go while I still love you enough to save your life. She stared at me, tears cutting tracks through the dust on her face. Then she ran. Out the back entrance, into the darkness, swallowed by the night. I never saw her again. The priestess was right about one thing, confronting the truth freed me. Once Zola was gone, once the source of sabotage was removed, my life began to unfold the way it was supposed to. Like a flower that had been pressed under a stone, I finally had room to bloom. My skills as a healer grew rapidly without someone actively undermining them. My reputation recovered as success followed success. Word of my abilities spread beyond our village. Within 2 years, I was invited to study with the greatest healers in the capital. I learned techniques that had been lost for generations. I combined old wisdom with new knowledge, creating treatments that saved lives no one thought could be saved. Zola had been right about my future. Everything she'd seen came true. I did move to the capital. I did marry well, a kind man who respected my gifts and supported my work. We had children. I built a compound with 10 huts, a place of healing where people came from across the land seeking help. My name became known. Mothers named their daughters after me. Songs were sung about the healer who could call someone back from death's door. Everything I dreamed of, I achieved. But Zola was also right about something else. My success took me far from home. The village where I grew up became a place I visited once a year, then once every few years, then almost never. The people I'd known became distant memories. The life I'd lived before felt like it belonged to someone else. And the memory of my childhood friend, the girl who'd been my whole world, who I'd loved more than my own reflection, it faded like morning mist under the sun. Sometimes, late at night when I couldn't sleep, I'd wonder about her. Where had she gone? What had she done with her gift? Had she learned to use it wisely or had it destroyed her? Had she ever found peace? Had she ever forgiven herself for trying to trap me in amber to preserve a friendship that was already dying? Had she ever forgiven me for being everything she wanted to be? And sometimes, in my most honest moments, when I was alone with my thoughts and couldn't hide behind noble justifications, I wondered if I should have stayed small. If I should have let her win. If I should have sacrificed my own future just to keep her close, to keep her from being consumed by jealousy, to preserve the friendship that had once meant everything. But those thoughts never lasted long. Because I learned something important from Zola's betrayal, something more valuable than any healing technique or medicine formula: your future belongs to you. Not to the friends who claim to love you while secretly hoping you fail. Not to the people who say they want the best for you while working to ensure you never surpass them. Not to anyone who loves you only when you're small enough to fit in the shadow they've chosen for you. The ancestors gave us gifts for a reason. To use them is to honor their wisdom. To hide them, to diminish ourselves to make others comfortable, to stay small because someone else's jealousy demands it, that's not love. That's not friendship. That's a cage with a pretty name. I chose freedom. I chose to honor my gifts. I chose to become everything I was meant to be, even though it cost me the person I loved most. And I would make the same choice again. They say the greatest enemy is the one who knows all your weaknesses because they loved you first. They are right. But they don't tell you the rest of the truth. They don't tell you that surviving such betrayal makes you stronger than you ever imagined. That rising from the ashes of a poisoned friendship teaches you to trust your own wings. That learning to fly alone is terrifying but necessary. Zola tried to steal my future. Instead, she taught me to guard it fiercely. She taught me that love can become poison when mixed with jealousy. She taught me that some people will only celebrate your success if it doesn't surpass their own. She taught me that the people who truly love you want to see you soar, even if it means watching you fly away. And in the end, that was the greatest gift she could have given me, even if she never meant to give it at all. So when people ask me about friendship, about loyalty, about the bonds that are supposed to last forever, I tell them this: love the people who celebrate your light. Cherish the friends who push you higher. Hold close those who want you to become everything you're meant to be, even if it means you'll outgrow them. And let go of anyone who needs you to stay small to feel big. Because your future is too precious to sacrifice on the altar of someone else's insecurity. And you are too powerful to live in a cage, even one built by someone who once loved you.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more inspiring stories. See you next time.